here we are, almost a week late, for the second episode of The Bachelorette, Rachel season. And I watched it yesterday, but forgot to do this part, and then didn't. Now it's 9:30 the next day, and so I don't even really remember too much of what happened. Although I did listen to a recap of the episode earlier today. So hopefully that will jog some of my memory so I can tell you what happened in this episode. Oh, okay. This is definitely the highlight of the episode, is that she has a dog. She has a dog who has sadly a broken foot, but isn't he so cute when he's walking around with his cast? His name's Copper, and he's amazing. And as soon as he showed up he shows up first thing because he's there at the house with her. So they're sleeping in the same bed, and I'm jealous of Copper and I'm jealous of Rachel. I'm jealous of them both. And it made me think, Rachel, why are you on this so-called quote-unquote journey to find love when you have Copper? And then he goes on the one-on-one date with, what was his name? Peter? No, I don't know. Whoever that guy was. And I was really jealous of that. Okay, so this episode was very Bachelorette-y. In like a really good way, but in a way that makes me very frustrated towards heteronormativity. So they start off with a group date, and it's a bunch of dudes and Rachel, and she says that she's wife material, and she wants to find out if they're husband material, and so automatically, like, my guard is up, and I'm like, ugh, what does that even mean? What does it mean to be wife material or husband material? Apparently, in 2017, if you're husband material, it means that you can change a diaper, you can carry your child without drowning it in a sink when you're searching for a really big ring and vacuuming a really long carpet. I could probably do all that, so I suppose I too would make a really good husband. Except for most of these guys did drown their fake babies in the sink when they were trying to get up the ring. We were joined by Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, who are actually somewhat charming, which I'm surprised about because, I haven't really been ever a big fan of Ashton Kutcher because he wore all those trucker hats in the early aughts, and he really spurred that culture, and so, like, I have a lot of resentment towards him. But he had no love at all for Lucas, which I appreciated from him, because Lucas is horrible. And I will not say his catchphrase because that's all he wants us to do. So that happened, and Lucas did win the challenge, but he cheated because he, straight arm blocked Kenny. I like Kenny. Kenny has prospects. He also has a 10-year-old daughter. No one with a kid wins. 10-year-old, that's long. That's a big burden to, especially if you're long distance. I don't know where Kenny lives. I don't think he wins, but I like him as a person, and the fact that Lucas, then would he even win? He didn't get any extra time with Rachel, so, like, whatever. He's just annoying, and I liked that Ashton Kutcher was like, what is that sound that you keep making? What is that for? And then Mila Kunis was, like, totally shading him, and I appreciated that. Then we have the one, I don't remember who, I don't remember who got the date rose. It wasn't Kenny, and it wasn't Lucas, and those are really the only two guys that I remember their names. Someone named Peter got a rose, but I don't remember if Peter was on the one-on-one date or not. No, she gave the one. It could have been the next day. No, it wasn't. Okay, she gave it to Dean. Dean is the other guy, and he's the one who made the I'm gonna go black and never go back joke at the final rose, which, again, he keeps asking her if it was okay, and she keeps going, yeah, it was amazing, and I'm like, no, but really, was it? Like, when a white guy fetishizes you in that way, can we stop saying that was okay for him to say? Okay, but I can't tell a black woman how to relate to her own blackness, so, I take it back, but I don't dislike him. She seems to really like him, and I'm not entirely sure why. But that's a question I have usually with The Bachelorette. Okay, so then there's a one-on-one date, and that must have been with Peter. And she really likes Peter. Peter is from Wisconsin. He's from Madison. And he, I think, is very boring and quite bland. But she seems to really like him, which was very confusing to me the entire time that I was watching this episode, because she kept going like, oh my god, our chemistry is off the chart. And okay, so they're at like a dog party, which I was so into, and I would have loved to have accompanied her there. But I didn't get I didn't get much chemistry from them at all. He didn't seem that excited to be there. And then I was listening to this recap, Not Here to Make Friends, which is a Huffington Post podcast, which is pretty funny. And last week they had on Allison Williams from Get Out and Girls. So like sometimes so it's kind of fun to listen to, people talk about the show who are celebrities. And they thought that they had a lot of chemistry and that like Rachel has really good taste by being smitten with him, and Rachel literally says she's smitten with him. I like the entire time didn't even understand the connection at all. So I was very confused by that. But they did go to a dog party, and then afterwards they took Copper out for a fancy dinner. One thing I did appreciate, and they mentioned this in the podcast, is that both of them were talking about how their last relationships kind of effed them up, and they were in therapy, and I think that's actually really kind of cool to talk about on a reality show. You don't hear a lot about mental health in general. In any show that I watch, therapy is rarely a thing. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is kind of all about mental illness and what it can do to you. But that's about it. So I just, like, it's not like a main focus or anything, but the fact that both of them were like, I went to therapy and it was the best thing I did that year, I think it sums up. So, like, that made me like Peter a little bit. But she's so smitten with him, I just don't understand why exactly. Aside from the fact that he goes to therapy, which shows he's well-adjusted. Or trying to be. Okay, and then there is the meat of the episode, which is the second group date. This one has other men. I don't know who they are. They play basketball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar shows up. Apparently he watches The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and is very critical of the show. Like has written actual like articles like talking about how like fucked up it is, which is awesome and he's so tall. Like that's the only thing I can always think of whenever I see him. He's so tall. But apparently when Rachel was cast on The Bachelorette, like the Bachelorette producers called him and were like, hey, we've got a black Bachelorette. You want to come on the show? Because we know you watch. And he was like, yes. So I appreciate that about him. Okay, so they go on, they play basketball, and most of them can play basketball. It's a whole bunch of white guys, like, trying to play basketball. And this is, like, another weird thing that I've noticed on the show, is that if the white guys are talking to a black guy, like, their entire demeanor changes, and a lot of their vocabulary changes. It's like they are trying so hard to demonstrate that they are okay with blackness, that they parody it, and it's really like, I don't know, condescending, racist. So I know I've noticed that. Similarly, though, I've noticed that Rachel speaks differently to the white guys than she does to the black guys. There's more of an ease when she's speaking to the black guys, and I don't know, maybe I am reading into it. Maybe that's my own issues with race. I don't know. But I feel like I've noticed, like, there is more of she seems less guarded when she's not with the white guys, which makes sense. And there was one episode, I think it was when the second date group was still back at the house while the first date group was out. And I don't remember who it was. One of the guys, I don't remember because I still don't know many of their names. Like, some of the white guys, the one who has all the racist tweets that they're just finding was being crazy, I think it was. And then one of the black guys was like, oh no, it might have been Kenny, because he was talking about wrestling. He was like, I'm a wrestler, so I know a lot about like white guy, like, craziness. And I was like, yeah, it's never pretty. It usually, leads to destruction, and imperialism and horrible things. Global history teacher. So they're playing basketball, and then they're practicing, and DeMario is the only one who's any good, and then they play basketball in front of a large crowd, and blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Because the action comes up. While the men are in the locker room after the game, talking about, the winning team's like, yeah, we're probably going to get something for winning, blah, blah, blah. A woman walks in, and she is like, hey, Rachel, DeMario is my boyfriend, and we were fucking, like, literally 2 days ago. Okay, not that quite, but she's like, he has keys to my apartment, all of this shit. And she's like, and I can show you this based on text. And Rachel is so composed. It's the lawyer in her, it's gotta be. And she goes and she gets DeMario, and DeMario thinks it's like, oh, I was the MVP of the game. Like, she totally wants to, like, Give me some extra time. Little does he know, he's walking into a lion's den, and this lady she's God's gift to reality TV. As soon as he walks in, she's like, "Karma's a bitch, DeMario," which I think should be on a t-shirt, and basically reams him out. And Rachel's getting very composed and is like, "Okay, listen, this is her story. What is your story?" And he tells her his story, and his story changes, like, with every sentence. He's telling a different story. Who is this woman? Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess I know her. Like, I saw her a couple of times. Yeah, okay, so, like, we were together for a while. Yeah, okay, so, like, we were together recently. Yeah, I FedExed you those keys. And he digs his grave so deep. And Rachel's so awesome, and she's like, you know what, this doesn't make any sense, and so I need you to get the fuck out. And she told him to get the fuck out, and they bleeped her. And I just really had this internal moment of, like, just, I don't know, it was probably the best moment I've ever witnessed in Bachelorette history. Which isn't saying much, because there is never any good moments in Bachelorette, but this one was, like, just really great. And it was like, yeah, get the fuck out, Mario. And then she goes and she tells the guys, and she's like, I'm in this process for real, like, so if you have a girlfriend, you need to leave. And then she, like, leaves before any of them can say anything at all. And all the men are like, oh my god, who would, like, do that? Like, men would do that, okay? Men would do that, because they suck. I saw Wonder Woman today, and I know that for sure. Because BT Dubs, the best part of the movie was when they were on Themyscira. Like, make the whole movie be that. Just make the whole movie be the women. So they all comfort her and blah, blah, blah. And they're all like, listen. And then she makes out with a lot of them, some aggressively, which makes me uncomfortable. She gives the date rose to Josiah, I believe. I don't know what he looks like, but I'm pretty sure he got the rose, because he made her feel comforted. And this is kind of like my struggle with Rachel. It's like she's so powerful, she's so pretty, she's like, that so-called, like, woman who has everything, and yet she's kind of regressive, in my opinion, with the way that what she wants in a relationship. Someone to, like, just take care of her. And I feel like I had this conversation with a friend yesterday. Like, I want to save someone. You remember when Caitlyn was saved from the birds, I think, by the guy who ended up winning that season? We were talking about that, because that's the only episode my friend has seen. And I was like, oh, yes, I guess I would like someone to save me from birds, but I guess I would also like to save people from birds. Let's have a reciprocal relationship here, where everyone is saved from the birds. So I imagine that Rachel would like that too, but I don't like that right now it's being dressed up as, like, she wants just saving from the birds, that she's not going to also save from the birds. And so I don't like that. Any guys that I like the Russian guy. I think they have nice chemistry. He seems to make her laugh, and so I appreciate that. I like Kenny. I think Diggy's cute. That racist guy's got to go. Lucas has got to go. Oh, but at the end, DeMario comes back because he wants to have another word with Rachel. Because when he leaves after the basketball game, he's just like, she tells him to get the fuck out. I have to say that again. And he's just keeps saying, this is so crazy. This is so crazy. And he can't stop smiling because he's clearly, like, has no idea what to do. And so he's going back, and there's a confrontation. Of course, the hick boy with all those racist tweets who also needs to get the fuck out. Pro-Trump, anti-woman's march kind of bullshitter. Is like, let's rally the troops. We need to get this son of a bitch out of here. He was probably also the guy who said he was going to have problems with some of the guys in there because he's a racist. I was like, Rachel wants to talk to him. Like, maybe don't be an asshole about it. But he can't help it because he's white, and none of them can really help it because they're men. That's all I got. It's almost 15 minutes. Too heteronormative. Once again, I'll say my plea, Rachel. I will take care of Copper for you, and I will go to all the dog parties you would like. And I will save you from the birds, but you will also sometimes need to save me from the birds. Just reciprocity. We'll also go and watch Wonder Woman and create our own Themyscira. Utopia. With each other. Bye.